this better? Inktober.
It's finally done.
But that does mean a sketchbook tour. Hi, welcome. So, Inktober is finally finished, and I actually managed to finish it this year. And I've got all of my illustrations in this tiny little sketchbook. If you're wondering, wow, I love that sketchbook. Thanks.
I made it.
It's a 10 by 10 centimeters spiral bound sketchbook. This definitely gave some issues throughout the month, but it's really cute. I've been wondering if I should count this in my numbering of sketchbooks because it's very small and it doesn't have a lot of pages, but there's this page. Isn't it a blessing that I hadn't cleaned my palette yet? Now it's finished. Okay, so while this is drying, let me tell you guys a little more about the rules that I set for myself. So I would only be working in the sketchbook. The sketches and the finished illustrations are in here. I used this ink, East Indian ink. It should be waterproof, but it was not, and that was my biggest struggle this entire month. But I'll get into that later, don't worry. And then I used these two colors, a blue one and a spring green one, to kind of tie it all together and make them cohesive throughout the month. This was also kind of a pain because I did not have any warm colors, so I sometimes had very autumny prompts and then I couldn't execute them well in my opinion, which is another thing. The prompts, I picked all of the prompts myself maybe a week before Inktober, and then I just put them all into the spot. And then I picked them day by day. After I finished one, I picked the other one because I fell behind at some points. But I did finish everything in October, so I think I succeeded. Is this dry? I think it is. We're gonna start. So I've got this little plastic film that will just protect it a little bit. Here is the cover page. What I focused on this Inktober was contrast and composition. I know that ink should be a very big focus. It was because I'm not really well with this ink pen. This is the one that I used throughout the entire month. I think I only used this nib, as you cannot see. This one. So the first day was
a little rough.
I started with sketching. The prompt was leaves, and I thought of fig leaves because I really like fig leaves. And I've got this nice green. And in the beginning, I kind of forgot that I can also mix the colors. So for the first 3 or 4 days, I kind of couldn't really figure out what I was doing. I really like this sketch. I think it's really, really cute. And then this was sort of the finished thumbnail. Is this better? I think it's better. And then the finished one is this one. Like I said, I really don't like it. I think I can really improve upon this. And I really want to redraw it. I was planning to redraw it, but I forgot. So on to day 2. So day 2, the prompt was clouds, and I was really excited for this one because I love clouds. I'm just really bad at drawing them because I don't really understand clouds. So for this one, I really wanted to play with a wet on wet technique. Could have just done this, just said it was all clouds. No, a wet on wet technique. So I kind of put the ink on there and water, and I don't like how this looks. I did sort of try that again here. Kind of have everything spread out. But it doesn't look like clouds, so we're gonna move on. Day 3 was another one that was where I first realized that this ink is not waterproof. So I had my sketch, the prompt was Mike, so I could draw Hatsune Miku. That's the only reason I put the prompt in there. I got the sketch, which was really cute, and then I put the line art, and then I forgot that it bleeds, so it was kind of a pain. I also should have diluted the ink way more so it wouldn't be as saturated and in your face. But it was a learning process. It gets better from here. We're gonna continue. For day 4, the prompt was blue, so I just wanted to do something blue. So it's okay, what's blue? Fish are blue. Blueberries are blue. Whale is blue. And then I thought of Rei from Neon Genesis Evangelion because I really like her, and I was I'm just gonna draw her. I don't know why I wrote folk, but okay. So these were the thumbnails. And then here it is. I think this one is finally where it gets a little better. I don't like the proportions. Her head feels very big and her torso as well. But other than that, I think this one's really cute. It really screams Inktober to me with the ink. And here I finally like started working with the ink mixing with each other. Next up, this is one of my favorites, honestly. The prompt was world, which is actually a prompt that a classmate of mine gave me. I was like, what about a map? And I drew a world, and I was like, what if the eyes are like a globe? But then I was like, what if just the entire face is like a globe? So I play around with that, and once again, contrast. So I made the hair white and the background black, added little dots to make it look like space. This, like I said, this is one of my favorites. I really like how it turned out. I really like how I did the blush. It's like I mixed the green and the blue to get like a turquoise, and it's like a lot deeper. One thing that I also have to mention is that my camera is not picking up the blue at all. Like every time I use turquoise, it's like that's blue, and I'm like, it's not blue. So I'm gonna find a way to get around that with the color grading maybe. I don't know if that's gonna work, but for now. Here I was finally kind of getting in the groove of doing Inktober every day. The prompt was hourglass, so you know, I drew an hourglass. I, for some reason, really wanted to draw hands because I was like,
I can draw 2 hands.
I took references of myself like in this pose, and then I used those. And there we have it. I added little stars instead of sand or whatever, and really tried playing with the transparency of the glass. I don't know how well I did, but I do think it's kind of cute. But like once again, I forgot that I had to do the like tones first before the line art, which is not a process that I really enjoy. Or else it smudges, that happens. And it happens a lot. Prompt 7, zebra? I think it's zebra. I don't know why I put this in here. I know why I put that. I know why I put this in here. It's because of the stripes, and I was like, that's gonna be so much fun to like play with zebra stripes. I forgot that I don't really like drawing animals. I really like this one. That is the one that I tried going with. This one looks so bad. And then this guy, I don't know. And then the little leaves that are also on the front page actually. And then there's the thumbnail. And then the finished one, I drew the sketch and I was like, oh, I love this sketch. This is gonna turn out great. And then I realized that it's so off-center. Like before this was here, I was like, I can't leave it like that. He's almost falling off the page. So I just added like a little circle of the leaves, and I like how it looks. I think this is the first day where I really tried mixing the green ink, which is incredibly bright, with more of the black to make it more muted, and just like, I really love this color, so I definitely played around with that more. Next up was sunflower. Sunflowers are one of my favorite flowers, so that's why I put this prompt in here. I'm however pretty bad at drawing them. I just don't have the patience to draw in all the leaves. But this one, I was like, okay, what am I gonna do? I don't have yellow, which was, you know, this is where the struggle began of only using these 2 colors. But I was set on using only these 2 colors and also at least one of them every day, which I think I did. So yeah, sunflower was like, I'll just draw 2 sunflowers or something. And I was like, what if it's like a tiny sunflower that's lost around like bigger sunflower? So that's what I went with. This one took so long. I think the coloring alone took like at least 45 minutes, maybe an hour or something. I just had to go in, and I later in like at day 30 or something, I did something that's similar to this, and I did something that works way better because I had to work from light to dark because, you know, it smudges. And I should have just like done a wash of green first because everything would have been green, but I didn't. I just went in and like around it, and then it just added more and more contrast. And I do kind of like how it looks. I like the idea, but once again, there's stuff to improve upon, which I actually do later. Next up, day 9, mountain. I think this is the first day that I fell behind, at least one day. So I was like, we'll draw a mountain, I guess. I was also, what about a mountain of books? But I didn't really like that. Did make me think of Bob Ross, obviously, because mountains, and I decided to go with something like a lot more simple, so just a mountain, but I really wanted to play with the texture and with the hatching. I tried kind of like making it a gradient down here, but you know, didn't work all too well. I do like what I did with the background though, because it's just blue and pretty, like it has texture. This one was fun to do. I was with a friend while I drew this, and I could just like talk to them. Same with this one. I think I did these in the same day. So the prompt was mushroom, and there are so many cool mushrooms out there, and I couldn't really choose, but I didn't want to just like draw a mushroom that was out there. I actually really like these sketches, especially compared to the final one. But what I decided with was this tiny thumbnail down here, like a tree with mushrooms, like, I don't know what they're called in English. I don't know. So that's what I went with, but I didn't really know what I was gonna do with the color, so I ended up putting green in the background.
I don't really like how it looks.
It also smudged right there. I just spent forever like hatching this, and I was like, okay, at some point it's done. Like, done is done. So we're gonna skip. Already on 1/3, the next prompt was jellyfish, another prompt that a classmate of mine chose. I was like, okay, we're gonna draw a jellyfish. It's pretty simple. One thing that I do regret kind of with the prompts is that I picked very concrete prompts, often just like nouns of things, or in this case animals, and it gave me a very strict border to work with. I would have liked it if I picked more like adjectives or just some other words, but you win some, you lose some. I do still like some of these drawings that are in here. We have jellyfish. I wanted to make this one blue, and once again really play with like the ink, so like make it a watercolor effect. And that's what I did. I don't really like this one when I made it, but I actually kind of like it now, so that's funny. And I added fish in the background because drawing fish like this is just one of my favorite things, honestly. And it just added to the composition. So that's our jellyfish. Next up, okay, here I was definitely falling behind. I think I had a very busy past couple weeks with school. So this kind of took a back seat. And I just didn't know what I wanted to do with Angel because I really like drawing angels. It's just kind of hard. So I really wanted this to be super good. And then I just kind of procrastinated and I was like, okay, we're just gonna have to do it, right? So what I did was, you know, draw some angels. I wasn't really sure what composition I wanted. I was also like, what if we do a biblically accurate angel or an Evangelion angel? I didn't actually end up going with that, but it would have been funny. This is the thumbnail, and then this is how it ended up looking. With this one, especially on camera, it looks dark blue, but I swear that this is turquoise. You just can't see it. You have to trust me for that. So it's a very deep turquoise. I like how this one turned out. I drew everything and it felt kind of flat. So especially with the wings, I went over it once again and it really added depth. It was kind of hard getting them more or less symmetrical, but I think I did an okay job with that. I just made sure to like do something one side and then do it on the other side as well. And I think this one's really nice. It's still not helping. We're gonna continue. Okay, so for those of you who saw last week's video, saw the entire process for this one and for the next one. So if you're interested in getting a little bit of a closer look on how I did every Inktober, you can check that out. For this one, I made a box around all of them except this one. For this one, the prompt was texture, so I was like, what about like a really fuzzy animal or something that's knitted? And I decided to combine the two, and I did a little bunny and a little cat. And there they are. I really like the cat especially. I just love fluffy animals. That's very cute. And then combined with the little knitwear is so cute. I didn't really know what to do for the background. So once again, I picked a turquoise, which you can't see apparently. And just added some stripes in the background. And I think it really emulates the like knit. Like if you knit a sweater or a scarf or whatever. I think that's cute. I like this one, it's cute. Next up we have maple. This one, I really like maple leaves. I forgot how hard they are to draw. I really struggled with this one, especially because I only had blue and green, and maple leaves, I guess they are green when they're like normally on the tree, but when you think of a maple, they're bright red, right? Or like maybe yellow sometimes. But I didn't have any warm colors, so I kind of struggled with this. I was like, what if we do a tree? But I didn't really want to do that, so I was like, okay, what if we just put one leaf? And I thought that'd be really funny. So that's kind of what I did. I added a little frame behind it, and then the leaf in the middle. If you want to see the speed paint for this, or actually more like real life, check out the video once again. Same with this one, it really bled. I wasn't planning on adding much color to this one, so I did all of the black lines first and then it bled. But I do still like how it looks. I think it's kind of cute. Next up, almost the halfway mark. This one was sunlight. I really struggled with this. I was like, what if we do something like this where there's the sun and clouds? And I actually honestly really like this thumbnail. I think it's very cute, but I didn't end up going with that. One thing that really fascinates me is like if you look up at like the sky and there's trees and then you like look through the trees and through the leaves, and the way the sun comes through those is just one of the prettiest things that Mother Earth gave us, right? So I wanted to like kind of emulate that, and that's what I did. So here's the sun and it's kind of like going through it. I don't think I did a very good job on getting the leaves to look like they are on a tree, but nonetheless I do like it. It feels really warm. I'm really not sure what to do with the lighting for this video, but like look in the sunlight, it just looks like it's glowing and it looks awesome. Next up we have beetle. This is another word that I was kind of excited for because I love beetles. I think they're so cute. But I kind of messed this one up. There's also a car, but I didn't feel like drawing a car. I looked up a whole bunch of beetles and there's so many of them. So I decided to pick 3 and kind of put like a different shape. So this one's more angular, this one's more like an oval or a triangle. Not really triangle, oval, and then this one's really round. And then I picked a different color for each of them. But the composition on this one is so bad. They're like blending into each other and I should have made them smaller. I didn't, I couldn't change it anymore when I realized it, so this is definitely not my favorites, but I do kind of like how I colored them. I think that's really cute. Next up we have button. I've been really obsessed with buttons lately. I think they can be so cute. So I wanted to draw like a little doll with buttons for eyes, so that's pretty much what I did. I gave her a cute little dress and braids, and I think the eyes, they're not that clear as buttons. It was kind of too small to get all of the details in, but I do think this one is really nice. I like finally sort of figured out how to draw ruffles, which I always struggled with, even though people are always like, ruffles are so easy to draw, and I didn't understand them. And this, I think this one is fine. Like I sort of get the hang of it. Just a cute little girl. Next up, this is definitely one of my favorites. The prompt was poncho. So, oh, look at this one. You know those frog ponchos? Those are the cutest. I actually have this like bright yellow poncho and I've been meaning to do something with it, like make an illustration with it. But I haven't yet. But for now there's this. I sadly didn't have yellow, so I couldn't do anything with that. But with this one, I don't know, I was in a good mood. I was, however, falling very much behind, so I had to do a couple a day when I had the chance. But I really like this one. This one was just very fun. I just, you know, did the colors first. I finally kind of got the hang of that. Did the colors first, just used muted colors actually. And I think this one really ties together. I think you can really see like the somberness of the, you know, the rain and everything, but it still feels very playful. I like that. Next up, the prompt was dress. I've been really obsessed with dresses lately. I've been getting into sewing, and I was doing so much research about 18th century dresses and everything. And this one's kind of inspired by that. So there it is. I realized that I hadn't really mixed the blue and the green that well and like diluted it. I have used a very bright saturated turquoise color, but like once again I don't know how well it captures it, but this is such a nice color. I don't know what the background is, don't ask me. I just felt like it was very bare, so I wanted to add something. I realized that square compositions can be pretty hard, especially if you're doing full bodies, so that is kind of a struggle throughout the entire month once again. Next up, the prompt was skate day 20, already on 2/3. Yeah, so I was like, okay, do I want to do skateboard or roller skates? And then I was like, what about both? So I like designed some characters for that sort of, and then I just put them together. I really like this one on the left. I think I really like this one on the left. I think it just works. This one I kind of gave her a broken foot, but I do still think it's cute. put a little heart in between. You can decide for yourself what that means. Next up we got trouts. I really like trouts. I think they're very cute. They have like rainbow trouts and those look so pretty, but I didn't have the colors for that. So I kind of had to figure out something else. I just looked up trouts and found like these two that were very silly in their like the gesture, the figure. So I went with those and put them together. Added a little circle behind it, but it felt very, once again, very bare. So I decided to torture myself and add skills to the like entire backgrounds. It's kind of a shame that I messed up at a couple points and those like really stand out. But other than that, I do think the background is really cute. So those are our fishes. Next up was Alone. I really wasn't sure what to do with it. This was a more abstract prompt, so I just looked up Alone on like Pinterest and I just found like people who were like very like small in a vast environment. That's kind of what it came down to. And then I saw Shinji from Neon Genesis Evangelion and I was like, we're gonna draw him. And there's this one shot where he's in the train. And that's kind of what I wanted to go with. So that is what I did. I really like the sketch for this one. And I kind of messed it up with the colors. I made them way too bright. And I think I did the lines first with this one as well. So it kind of bled everywhere, which was kind of a shame. But this one definitely had potential. I do, apart from the colors that look a little ass, like how the line art turned out. So if you just ignore the colors, maybe put it black and white, I think it looks nice. Next up, we've got knits. I forgot that I put this prompt in here, but I was pretty excited when I finally got it. I sort of immediately knew that I wanted to do like a tiny top and then like really long big sleeves. I really like that silhouette, so I decided to do something with that and just draw a girl, because sometimes you just wanna draw a girl that's there. So there we have her. I don't know where there's just ignore that. I made like a little pattern on the sweater and I really like this one. I think this one's just really cute. This really reminds me of Uvember. I did Uvember last year. I won't be doing it this year because I don't have time for that. I will be doing a special big one in one go, but I won't spoil too much. But I'm not gonna do it every day. But this one really had a Uvember feel to it, I feel like. Just because it's blue and gray and black. Next up we have Rain. I had already drawn some rainy scenes, so I was like, okay, what am I gonna do for this one, right? So I started with a couple like tiny ones with just things raining, and then I thought of like the ripples rain makes in like lakes or water in general. And it's like, what if I do something with that? That would be interesting. So I decided to draw some lilies or lotuses. I don't know, I think they're lilies. There, I think this one, I really like this one. It's more of a watercolor painting it's more of a watercolor painting more so than an ink drawing. But for this one I wanted again the colors first because you have to, or at least I had to, and then I just put the colors in there and I really like the perspective this one has. I made the lily pads in the background a lot smaller than in the foreground. And I added in the rain, and I think this one just works, right? Yeah, let's continue.
Ooh, I don't really like this one.
This prompt was Candle. It was starting to be the end of the month, and I still had a bunch of them to do, so I think I did this one like on the 29th or the 30th. But I really like the sketches, these tiny ones. I really wanted to play with value, because candles, or the fire of a candle, give off light. And then I thought of a chandelier, and I thought that would be really interesting to draw. And then a lot of chandeliers have like glass, and I was like, I'm gonna draw the glass and it's gonna be so cool. And then I came up with this. I don't like it. It looks... I should have done the values first and then the inking. I hadn't learned my lesson, I guess. And it just looks messy here. I don't like this one. I think it gives off a certain ambience, but... Ooh, this one, 14. So I wanted to put a number in there as a prompt to like, you know, be like, I'll figure it out once I get there. And the entire month I was dreading getting this prompt because I did not know what to do with this. And I finally got it. And I was like, 14 is a pretty big number. I looked up like symbolic meanings of 14. I couldn't really find much. I was like, what if I just draw 14 of one thing, sort of like, a child's learning how to count book. What if I just put 14 dots? I don't know. 14 eyes. I really like this one. I think this one's very interesting. Maybe I should have gone with that one. This one just has like 14 flowers on their head, but I don't like this one. This one is cake with 14 layers. I didn't like that either. And then I thought of, what if it's just like a woman, once again going back to like the 18th century. Very historically accurate, I know. Although they did have pretty crazy hairstyles back then. Anyways, what if I just have a lady that has 14 layers of hair? And this was kind of a struggle. I couldn't really find a good reference, obviously, but also not one that had less layers. So I kind of had to figure it out with the like curly bits. It felt very empty, so I added 14 flowers next to it, and then 14 dots. I don't know, this one is very much a stretch. And it's not my favorite, but it was interesting. It was interesting. Next up, we've got coffee. Oh, this one was a lot of fun. I did this one on the 30th, the second to last day. I knew this prompt was in here, one that I actually did remember. And I was like, what if this girl just, drinking her tea? And I was like, wait, what if we like make it big? Because I have the energy to do so. So it was this girl sitting there in like a cafe, and I think it turned out so cute. I had a lot of fun with the background, just adding in, a bunch of lines. Perspective and backgrounds is definitely not my favorite thing to do or my forte, but I do enjoy it every now and then. Same with this one, as you can probably tell, I did the lines first and then went in with the tones, and I shouldn't have because it bled everywhere, but I added a little bit of green, mostly in the plants, and there's this little kitty that I didn't sketch, so it's a little special. And I think this one is just nice. I like all the lines. Drawing lines with an ink pen, is that what they're called? I don't know. It's actually pretty fun. And then day 28 chicken. I did all of these in the last day, but I managed to get it done before November started, so. The prompt was chicken. I drew this chicken without a reference. I was like, yeah, we're gonna look up a reference. And I just drew a bunch of chickens, and I honestly really like these sketches. I think they're really, really cute. So I was like, we'll just draw a little barn scene with a whole bunch of chickens. That's pretty much what I did. And I think they turned out pretty cute. Like I wanted some like brown in the background, but I didn't have brown, so I just turned it into grass. And there's a fence, and I don't know what this fence is, but I have plans for this, and then I was like, I don't know. So there we have chicken. We're getting to the end here. Next up is poppy. Poppies are one of my favorite flowers as well. So I drew a bunch of poppies. I was like, okay, what am I gonna do? Then I thought of a field of poppies, sort of like the sunflower one, but I didn't really like that. I kind of just wanted to draw a character because that's more fun. So I was like, okay, what if there's this girl and she's just like kind of poppy themed, and she's wearing a field bouquet with a whole bunch of poppies in it, and it's just sort of like cottagecore, That's pretty much what I ended up with, except I decided to also add poppies to the background. So is she just very small and holding a normal sized poppy, or is she normal sized and are they really big poppies? Who knows? I think this one is interesting. This is the one I meant with I tried it again in the backgrounds, and I think this one is a lot neater. It also took a lot less time actually. I would have loved if I could make the poppies a bright red or a bright orange, but alas, I was getting pretty done with it Inktober at this point, and especially just only being able to use these colors. But we persevered. Next up, at this point I was getting really tired. The prompt was fox, so I drew a fox, and then I realized Hua Cheng from Heaven Official's Blessing is kind of like portrayed as a fox from time to time, so I was like, I'm gonna draw him because I'm gonna draw what I want, and I'm gonna have fun these last couple Inktober. So there's my thumbnail. Oh, I wanted to add butterflies. I forgot about that. I did not do that. So I drew our Hua Cheng fox, and I had a lot of space to the right, so I decided to draw Shilian as well. This one was very quick, as you can probably tell, but I do think it's like simple but nice, right? And then for the backgrounds, I actually really like what I did. I just grabbed a brush, put it full of, you know, ink, paint, whatever, and it's just like, you know? And I really like it. I think this one's very cute. Look at Chilean. Isn't he adorable? Aren't they adorable? And then, are you guys ready for the last day? So the last prompt was bun, and it was a fun prompt. That's why I put it in there. So because you have bread can be buns, but you can also have a bun in your hair. And it's like, I'm gonna combine it soon. I'm gonna draw this girl who has a bun in her mouth. And that's pretty much exactly what I did. I wanted to give her an apron, but I didn't end up drawing her body. So this is the last one. I drew this at like 11 a.m. But I really like the hair with this one especially. I just had ink on my paintbrush and I just kind of put like the texture of the hair in there. For this one I obviously did the colors or the tones first and then did the line arts. So I didn't really want to ruin this texture that I had there, and I'm glad that I didn't. And then I don't have much else to say about it. I really like this one. I think it's cute. And then I guess the last, also sort of the first page again, sketchbook 22. Yeah, this was certainly something. The last time that I attempted Inktober was, I think, 2019, and I did not get very far. Why won't it? There. Other monthly challenges that I've done or tried, or that I've done, is November last year, and this year in February I actually did February as well. I think it was this year. Other than that, I don't think I followed any like monthly challenges. They're definitely a lot of fun, and you definitely have something at the end of the month. But drawing every day when you're busy, I go to school now, and I do have a lot of less free time. But nonetheless, I'm really happy that I finished this. I persevered. I did what I had to. In the future, I will definitely remember that I don't have 10 hours to draw every day anymore. So I'm glad that I kept it small, because that was really necessary. If I would have done like a full A4 or just A5 every day, I would not have done that. But yeah, I think that's it. I want to thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you thought. Also, let me know what you think of my nail polish. I bought new ones because every new nail polish that I found was way too cool toned for my yellow skin. So I think this one's, I don't know, it looks better on camera actually. I guess that's one thing. Thank you guys for watching, if I hadn't said that already. Be sure to stick around if you want to see the sketchbook tour of this chunker, because that's also coming up and long due, but I'm really excited about this one. It is falling apart, but that's the fun part about sketchbooks, right? I wish you guys a happy day. I'm sorry the lighting in this video was absolute dog shit. Bye bye!